It is 2:59 p.m. That means I am waiting just 7 more minutes to see if the Ben Shapiro works, and I did everything correctly. So before we find out if that works, I'm going to show you everything I had to do to get the Ben Shapiro Show on our radio station.
Okay, so just to read this back, like I said, it's starting October 8th. We replace the Dana Show at 3 o'clock with Ben Shapiro on both ports A and B. So you are good to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And I will send you that box out today, and if you could help me get that receiver back, that'd be terrific. Okay?
Will do. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Alexa. Take care.
Bye. Okay, today is D-Day. We will be airing the Ben Shapiro Show at Mountain Time, 3 p.m. beginning. So I've done all the prep work yesterday on Friday, which includes getting the receiver set up, getting our automation system set up, which I'll go into. But yeah, day number 1, here it goes. Woo! Finally got the Shapiro Show on. It didn't take me that long. I'll go through the process of kind of what you have to do start to finish to get a radio show on the air like this, which is a network one carried by Westwood One, and how that works. I myself am the morning DJ. I do production work. I do a lot of other stuff here too. But we're a really small station. I'll tell you more about us and basically how I lobbied for Ben Shapiro and got it. So we'll do that through the video. Okay, let's do a tour around the studio. This is our main studio. This is where I sit most of the day. So now, let's take a look around. I gotta go turn some lights on, and I'll tell you the first step to getting Ben Shapiro on the air. Number 1, you have to find out who's in charge. So it's easy for me, because I work here, I know who's in charge. So I go to the boss man. We are a family-owned station. It is him, it is his wife, it's a couple salespeople, and it's me. We're very small, as you can see. So I go to Carl, and we air a lot of conservative programming anyway, and I tell him this is a really good show, we should air this show. It doesn't take a lot of convincing because we're going to change our afternoon lineup anyway, and Ben Shapiro is 1 hour long, so I had to find airtime to air him. Luckily enough, from 3 to 4 Mountain Time, which is when he is live, we can do that. So step number 1, find out who's in charge, give them a good reason to air it. This worked out good because we needed 1 hour of programming. He's got 1 hour of programming, so it worked out nice. And boss man said yes. So now comes the hard part. These little ditties right here are called receivers. They bring in all our shows, and they're from different things. We've got Learfield, Premier, Cumulus, Orbital, and Westwood One. This little doohickey right here, this is the important one. So what happens is I have to call Westwood One and I have to ask them, hey, can we air the Ben Shapiro Show? And they have to check and make sure nobody else is carrying it in our coverage area. So that way you don't have 5 stations airing the same thing at once. It just doesn't work like that with the contract. So after I called Westwood One and they said yes, they checked. Nobody else is airing Shapiro. Idiots. So now we can. So then that brings me to my next step. You wait for 5 pages to print. And that's not too bad for a show contract. And the way most talk radio works is it's free. It's trade. So we'll wait for that printer to get started because we have 2 stations we simulcast, the AM and the FM. Same thing goes out over the AM that goes out over the FM. So I have to fill out 2 contracts. And then once again, I have to get the owner to sign some places. I fill the rest out and we sign a big long contract saying we're gonna air this stuff. So this one we're lucky, obviously we don't pay for it. The trade is because there's national advertising or big ones inserted and we get local airtime too. I think it's about 10 minutes for local and 5 minutes for national with Shapiro. Here's the contract. But the Ben Shapiro Show is set up really well, and he's going to be moving to 3 hours, of course, in January, you know, but we just want to pick this 1 hour of one up right now. So step number 1, convince somebody. Step number 2, call Westwood and check. Oh, Westwood says yes. Then step 3, do the contract. And then that brings us to the more labor-intensive part, and that's going to be steps 4 through 20. What I had to do is basically make sure that the wiring was hooked up in a proper way to receive what's called closures, or little magic signals that make tones that our automation system can say, hey, cue this commercial, cue this break in the show, do a legal ID, things like that. Put your nerd glasses on, this is where it's going to get interesting. So, receiver. I'm not going to show you it too close because it's got a number on there and I don't want anybody getting in my receiver. So the big stack of things, once we come around back, we get into the mess of cabling. This is called tech support gore. When you have an old station, you got to fix it up, so we're in the process of that. But anyway, it comes through the receiver like a cable TV, the audio of it. It goes out the back through an audio cable, and that cabling is in here. Two things happen. This is where it splits up. The audio goes up to one of the top ones, and that cabling also goes down to the bottom, down here. This is Skyla. She does wonderful, wonderful things in my life. And so now that the audio is going one direction and the wiring that has the closures go to here, this, and so we'll talk about what that does. The audio gets routed through these two black boxes. Now, once the audio goes there, they're called network channels for us. And so our automation system is pretty cool. It's through Smarts Broadcasting, and it's called Skyla. I refer to her as a she, Skyla, and I tell her to do things. And then most of the time she does them on her own. That's magical. So I'll show you the back end of how that works. These are Skyla's audio channels. Remember these? Those things. All right, so right now she's on SRN, Salem Radio Network. She's playing some stuff, and right now it's in the Dana Show. That's where it comes through. If I want to switch it and go to Westwood 1, I just click that and it goes to Westwood 1. Now we'll look at the back end of it. This is called verification logs. This is where you can see all the little closures. And see all these things? Those are magical little tones coming down that tell it to go to a local break, like this right here, or it goes into the national like we hear it here.
They wish to govern, or they don't wish to govern for the sake of improving the nation.
All right, so that's Dana's show on right now. And those closures get sent out and they queue up these little breaks. Right here you see a 4-minute break, a 5-minute break. That's all our local stuff that we can sell to make money so our shows can go on air, and that's really cool. So it comes through there, goes through there, goes through all the back end, and it gets controlled right there. So, after wiring is completed, contracts are signed, bosses are happy, now we sit and we wait for the bench.
Partly to mostly cloudy and chilly, highs mid-30s. Mostly cloudy Tuesday night, a chance of snow showers, very cold, lows lower 20s. Mostly cloudy, snow showers, possible Wednesday with highs only 30s. I'm meteorologist Don Day.
A lot to get to today, obviously. As Brett Kavanaugh takes his seat on the Supreme Court, the left is coping in really mature.
Our break was approximately 12 seconds too long, but do you hear that?
My favorite is this lady who's trying to pry the door open.
I won. Got it on the air. It worked. Thank you, Ben Shapiro, for having a great show.
Without the actual passcode.
This is the Ben Shapiro Project. I don't know what time it is. It's now almost 3 o'clock. I've been in the studio since 6 a.m. I'm losing my mind. The Ben Shapiro Project.